Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Cathie, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
My name is Cathie Seibert. I'm the proud principal of Fair Oaks Elementary School in Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey, and we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much. So I started, I'm actually somebody who learned how to read much later in life, went back in the military, served 4 years in the United States Army, HUA, and then really struggled, wanted to make sure that I was able to be successful. So went back to college, redid a lot of my high school credentials and stuff at a community college in Boston, and then kind of floated in and started working and supporting the field of education and criminal justice. So my background is actually through criminal justice, and started to work with teens that were kind of really struggling to be successful in society, and decided that I needed to be in education. So fast forward that journey many years, and landed me into Cobb County. My husband and I are both ex-military, moved 13 times. And so we ended up in Atlanta area. And so when I was a stay-at-home mom, I started reading at one of our local schools as a community volunteer, and decided that I needed to give back to my community and learn and support reading initiatives for not only for myself, but then also for my community at large. And so that's how I launched into the field of education. Kind of a weird roundabout story, but it's all good.
Yeah, that's a little bit different journey. I did want to step back in a second because I'm from Columbus, Georgia. Were you at Fort Benning, or where did you do your intake?
So I was in, so that's a great question. So I actually was in Korea.
Okay.
I was stationed on the DMZ in 1989, and that's a long time ago. Not trying to date myself, but you know, a good date is always good.
That's right.
And then served in Fort Carson, and so that was very exciting. It was also at Fort Hood, and then in South Carolina for a little bit, and then Fort Huachuca, Arizona as well. So I have, and then I got married, and my husband served 10 years in the United States Air Force. He was an Air Force Academy officer. And so then I followed his little career along his little path as well. So I did double time as a spouse, and then also as a military person. And then my son is also in the Navy. So we are a trifecta of excellence.
That's awesome. I definitely appreciate your service. Please tell your husband and your son thank you as well, because we can't do any of these things. I can't do any of this right here without you guys serving in the military. So I truly do appreciate that. Now, let's say you were reading to the community, and then how does reading as a community service thing launch a career in education? How did you go about that?
Man, I tell you what, I got so inspired by these teachers helping support these students learning. And you know what? In the military, you're on the front lines, especially when I was in Korea. I mean, you're on the front lines, but you know what? Educators, they're on the front lines, and they need everything to wrap around them. So you know what, I just, it's a continuation of mission. I mean, I just saw, life, business, everything that we do is an extension of our mission as a person. You wake up out of bed, you grab your cup of coffee like you got right there, and you are on mission right now to help change businesses and lives for others. And so, you know what, I just took that journey. I just like, wow, this is just like service in the military, where you get to impact the lives of so many through learning and becoming better citizens.
So you worked your way from community to were you a teacher, or were you in the support? Tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I launched into my teaching. I specialized in emotional disturb and autism. And so I was a special education teacher at the elementary, middle, and high, and then became a lead teacher for elementary, middle, and high school. So I kind of supported special education services from a behavior, kind of wraparound behavior support services for that. And then really kind of launched me into a leadership role. And you know, everything in life that we do is because somebody taps us on the shoulder right next to us and says, "Hey, I think you'd be really good at this. Hey, you should consider going into this."
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody's like, "Oh, you should totally launch it." And I was like, "Oh man, I don't know. I mean, being a principal, that seems like a lot of work. And you know, it is
Yes.
a lot of work,
Yes.
but I love it every day, and I love that I get to do that." So that's a great question. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, most definitely so. And now let's say we've gotten to the point where you have to make that decision. I am going to go into this leadership role and be a principal. Was it a specific event that happened that made you burn your ship and go all in to being a principal?
Yeah, I actually, thank you. That's a great question. So I had a mentor who was working with me when I was a lead teacher, and I was working at a middle school. And they said, "You know what? You got a lot of leadership potential. You've got just natural talents that you've learned through military service and dedication, and we think you would be really great at being a leader." And so I went back to college to get my leadership endorsement through Kennesaw State. Woohoo, go Owls.
Yes.
And so, and then I kind of just took the first step, and you know, and then became an AP. I was an AP in elementary school, middle school, high school, and then was able to come back to Fair Oaks. I was initially their AP and then came back as their administrator, as their principal, which, by the way, was the biggest blessing because I got to join them in middle school as
Yes.
their middle school administrator, and then loop back around and hang out with some more little kids. So it was what an awesome journey that was.
Yes, that is awesome. That's a magnificent story. And I'm so excited because you're so excited about what you're doing. I just know your kids are so happy to see you on a daily basis because of that energy that you're bringing. And as we're talking about that, tell us a little bit about the school, your responsibilities as a principal, and how we can go about helping you.
Oh, you know what? Thank you so much for you know, asking that question. First of all, we can't do it alone. I'll just say that. Schools need people, schools need businesses, schools need communities, schools, and a lot of times people are like, "Well, I'll just get involved with where my students or cousins or this or that." But oftentimes what happens is when you have schools that are they have the extra supports where they're working with students that are learning two languages, or they're coming from situations which are not necessarily everyone has the same luxury of enjoying. I get to serve in schools that receive additional title funding. We're a Title I school, 97% free reduced lunch, but we have the most talented scholars. They're hungry, excited for learning. I mean, hungry for learning. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, I want their bellies to overflow with the expectation of something better for themselves and for their families. That's what I stand on. And so businesses can definitely help that mission. And I cannot do this job without having businesses. We, unfortunately, we try to have PTA. Most of our parents has worked 2 or 3 jobs, so it's a little bit more stressful for them. And you know what? Kudos to them. They are working really hard to be very successful. And so our businesses can come alongside and help out, whether it be volunteer hours, whether it be donating finances. We were very, very fortunate because we had a team of business sponsors that came and supported our Teacher Appreciation Week. And our teachers felt so blessed because of our businesses rallied behind them and were like, "Man, I'm willing to support you." We have a PBIS store, and you can donate a soccer ball. I mean, just the smallest things. You'd be like, "Man, that doesn't mean soccer balls, anything." We have a shoe shack where you can donate used shoes because, you know, kids wear out their shoes faster than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you'd be like, "What am I going to do with these shoes?" You know, because your child's worn them like 4 times. And then you're like, "Oh, donate them to Fair Oaks," because we put them on a pair of feet that need them. And so that is a very great thing. I mean, I'm one of those things that no matter what the gap is, we can close it, but we close it with people. We close it with businesses, and we close it with industries that are willing to stand in the gap and support public education.
That is so awesome. As we get ready to wrap up our 2024-2025 year, how can we support you over the summer? Because we are just about there. What is it that we can do over the summer to help you help these kids as the summertime comes around?
Hey, you know what? We do reading times at the local library. We also go out into our community and do reading at our at a lot of our low income housing And then we have little libraries. So if you want to sponsor books, we send out books to kids over the summer. We do reading events over the summer. We have kids coming on campus to read over the summer. If you're like, I'm really good at painting, we have some bathrooms that need to be we're working on. We did some priming with some volunteers, and we got the primer done, but we haven't got everything else done. So
Yes.
I mean, you name it, the sky's the limit. Like
Okay.
to me, it's like there's nothing too small. If you got an extra pencil, we got you. It's no problem. Because to me, every little bit helps, right? It's
Yes.
not just the big things. Oftentimes people think you have to do grandiose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the best actions in life are just small little steps towards helping somebody else.
Yes, yes, that is magnificent. Now, over your time in education, your time in the military, I am confident that you have acquired and nurtured some best practices that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with us a best practice or two that have helped you to be successful that could possibly help some of the entrepreneurs or business owners watching the show today add to their mix?
Well, thank you for saying that. First of all, I really believe that you have to have a passion and a heart for what you do. And to all the business owners out there, for the entrepreneurs, I mean, that's a scrappy industry in and of itself. You've gotta do that work. And so you gotta wake up with a joy and a mission and go after it. And I think part of that is staying centered on who you're called to be. When you wake up, you have a set purpose and a set goal. And when you go after that and you use creativity of what your talents are, whether it be your hands, your brain, your feet, no matter what it is, that sets you apart as a person. And so to me, I always hire teachers that live on mission, because when you live on mission, you're enjoying your job, because you are somebody that's basically living out their craft. Every one of us perform a tapestry and a service to somebody else, and it's our artwork that we're given to the world. And so I always look at, like, at the end of the day, I go home and think, what kind of artwork did I deliver to everybody else around me today? Because every word that I say that comes out of my mouth matters.
Yes.
Everything that I do has to have weight to it, because it's going to impact somebody else's ears.
Absolutely. There is no doubt the level of passion that you have for what you do. I've met you before. You've come to our events and in our meetings in the morning. And the moment that you come through the door, that energy level just rises up. And like I said, I know your kids, your staff are so happy to have you, because you just bring that energy that they need to get through. And I definitely can see that. And it's definitely showing in the show today. So thank you so much for that. Now, we've talked about your journey. We talked about what you do, how you are working hard to help the kids. Now, let's just say things are coming along well. You've gotten those volunteers, you've gotten those donations, and you can relax for a moment. Outside of being a principal, if time and money is not an issue at all, what is it that Cathie would do with her leisure time?
Well, you know what? On my leisure time, I actually, I'm an avid motorcyclist.
Okay.
So I actually, you'll find me up in North Carolina on the mountains on my motorcycle with my husband. He has a similar motorcycle, because, you know, we kind of like do that and do some hiking. So
Okay.
we're very big outdoorsy people. I grew up out west, so I love being unplugged and being out in nature. So that is definitely a place where you would find me. So on a curvy road somewhere with a motorcycle.
Awesome. What's the furthest that you've ridden on the motorcycle?
I went all the way down to A1A in Florida.
Okay.
From here in Atlanta. You know, time off is a rare treat, even because we work over the summer. But
yes.
I actually go up a lot to Western North Carolina. So we're looking to establish a place up there. So we're just kind of trying to figure, you know, you start doing those next stage plans.
Yes, yes.
Your plans.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, retirement's like 10 years away. What are we going to do?
Yes. Nothing wrong with being prepped and prepared. And that's awesome. I love the fact that you ride those motorcycles. I have an uncle. He travels all over the place. I asked him the same question. He said his favorite place he went was to Sturgis. So I said, yeah, that's awesome. I haven't gotten into that habit just yet. I may. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Now, if someone that is watching the show today, if they have questions about how they can volunteer, how they can donate, or even if they want to talk with you more about those best practices that you shared today, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, you can find me at Fair Oaks Elementary School. You can click on administration. You can find me under that. You can find me on social media. Pretty easy to find, Cathie Seibert. And you can instant message me on that, and happy to do anything. And obviously, and if anybody needs, I'm happy to speak on cell phone anytime, because we're all in this together. We all grow each other every single day. We get an opportunity to grow one another. So thankful.
Oh, yeah, most definitely so. And we truly do appreciate you coming on and sharing about your journey, where you came from, how you got to where you are. And we're always appreciative of our guests, and we always give you guys the last word. So if you don't mind, look into the camera and tell the people something good.
All right, so here's my something good. Right behind me, it says live, love, learn, lead. That's my 4 L's. If you do that every day, you are good to go. You live, you love, you learn, and you lead. If you lead with all those 4 L's, you got a lovely, lovely day.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Cathie. We truly do appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor and a privilege.
Absolutely. And to everyone that is watching today, be safe, be kind, and thanks.